Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be sharing something that I learned about outposts and why it's important to choose a planet not only based on the resources that it has, but on the local time versus universal time ratio. And let me show you what I mean here. If I go and look at this bed, you can see that when you put a bed on a planet and you go to sleep or you go to wait on a bench or something, it'll tell you what the ratio is for an hour on that planet and how much time passes according to universal time. Universal time is based on the Earth 24-hour rotation, but every planet has a different rotation, so the hour is different because it takes a different amount of time for the planet to rotate. For this one in particular, I'm over here it's in the Cheyenne system. I'm on this planet Codos or Codos. I've set up a little base here with just a simple iron extractor, and I wanted to see how long does it take to generate iron at a standard rate. So what I did first, and I'll show this up on the screen while I'm talking about it, is I looked at the base production rate, which down at the bottom of the screen there is 1.66 per minute. And I just waited in in-game time for 5 minutes to see how much iron I should have. The expectation was that I should have 8.3, 8 iron after 5 minutes, and that ended up being the case. However, I was also curious, what happens when I sleep on the planet? Is it the same? Because if I produce 8 iron per 5 minutes and it's at 1.66 iron per minute production rate, then after 1 hour of sleeping on this planet in particular, which is equal to 15 minutes, 15 times 1.66 is 24.9. So assumedly I should have 24.9 or 24 or 25 iron after sleeping for an hour. So let's clear out the collector here and we'll see how much iron we have after sleeping for an hour. There's 1 iron in there. So that surprised me initially. I was like, why is there just 1 iron in there? Shouldn't there be 1.66 times that? Well, no. What I've discovered is that there is, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to discover this, there is the production rate that's based on in-game time. So it's literally minutes that you spend playing the game. But if you were to skip forward by sleeping, it doesn't count it like that. It's a completely different calculation. If I sleep for 4 hours, which is 1 hour universal time, the expectation is if it were at 1.66 production rate per minute, then I should have at least 99 iron in the collector after I wait. But that's not the case. It is consistent based on the 15 minutes that we just slept, and we should have 4 iron based on the 1 iron from 15 minutes. Yep, there's 4 iron in there. So that's correct. But why does this... Oh, I love how the rain doesn't impact covered areas. That's a little detail, That's a little detail they didn't have to put in the game, but I do like that. I like that a lot. So this is just this planet, though. What if we go to a planet that has a slower rotation, such that more time passes in universal time for less time in the local time? Let's do that. We're going to go to the Narion system. I've selected a moon called Andraphon, and this one has a ratio of almost 6-to-1, meaning that every 1 hour on the planet in local time is nearly 6 hours of universal time. So let's go over here. If I look at the bed, it's 5 hours and 52 minutes, which is 352 minutes. So if we calculate this out, again, if it were 1.66 per minute, then we would expect after sleeping for 1 local hour to have 584 iron in the collector after we sleep. So let's empty it out. Got 45 in here. And then we'll sleep for 1 local hour and see how much iron we have. 38. Okay, we have 38, so conceivably if it's 38 for 1, then it should be 76 for 2 hours. We should expect 76 in there based on our previous sleeping for 1 hour. And it is, there's 76, and that trend continues. However, this is not the same ratio as it was on the other planet. if we divide our result, if we divide that 38 by 352, then we will get how much iron production we actually have per minute when we're sleeping. And that resulted at 0.108, and that was consistent across the board for this particular planet. We get 0.108 production of iron for every minute that we're sleeping on the planet. So 38 an hour. However, for the previous planet that had a 1-to-4 ratio, where every 1 hour was 15 minutes, we only produced 1 iron by sleeping for 1 local hour. And that was a production rate of 0.0667. So those rates are completely different, and I wasn't sure why, but the bottom line is, after running this experiment, there is a massive difference in the planet that you select. So if you select a planet like I did with this large ratio, 6-to-1 in terms of how much time passes compared to universal time, then when you're sleeping, if you sleep to wait, then you'll produce much more iron than you would on a neighboring planet. However, I believe the actual listed ratio here, the production rate at the bottom right, is consistent if you are not resting, if you're not waiting. But yeah, the point of this one is, if you're interested in outpost building, be very selective in the planet that you pick. Not only for the resources, because all of them have different resources, and you're probably going to start out just looking for iron and aluminum like I did. Think about the time difference. If you really want to produce things fast, you kind of want to cheese the system a little bit, which is fine. I mean, it's a game. Cheese the game. Then I highly recommend this method. And there was a planet out there in the Bessel system called Bessel 3b that has the highest ratio I've seen and is a fairly low level. It's not like a hazardous planet, an extreme hazard, so you can build an outpost there without having to unlock a particular skill in the skill tree. So it was a fun experiment to do, so good luck out there in the space lanes. That's stupid. Thanks for watching. See you next time.